Welcome back to Pop Goes to 60s. Today I'm going to be picking my raffle winners for a couple items that you can find on popgoes60s.com. We've got a few mugs we're going to give away via raffles and one album that never was. So the first thing that we're going to do is this mug here with the Pop Goes to 60s logo on it. This was the most popular raffle item, so I've got everything right in here. So we are going to pick the winner. We're not going to beat about the bush here. Harry Blazer. Harry, you are the winner of this mug. Very good. Okay, item number 2 is the Beatle mug I designed. So we have the kind of a silhouette, each guy from a different period. We have the John, the Jump from '62. Paul walking across the street there at Abbey Road is this silhouette, and then George at Help, and then Ringo Hard Day's Night. So let's see who wins this one. Mir Miskin. Mir Miskin. You are the winner of the Beatle mug. All right, we'll put that over here. Congratulations. Let's go on to the next one. Okay, the third item. This is a Beach Boys item. Pet Sounds Makes Me Smile. The yellow inside at the mug there. This is kind of a fun mug. Let's see what we got here. Jilly Idol. Jilly, you are the winner of the Beach Boys mug, Pet Sounds Makes Me Smile. Congratulations, Jilly. All right. And last but not least, we're going to raffle off the Beach Boys Laid in Hawaii album. This is an album that never was. Supposed to be released in later 1967 from a concert series they did in Hawaii in the summer of '67, in August, I believe. And this never came out. An interesting recording, Brian actually plays live with them for these dates. And this was kind of to take a little vacation after the failed Smile album. So let's see who wins this one. Stargazer Eric Dietrich is the winner of Laid in Hawaii. So Eric, congratulations. Congratulations to all the winners here. And this gives me an opportunity to bring out some of my other albums that never were. I haven't brought them out in a while. I typically feature them in a video if I do a band history. For example, I did a band history on the Mamas and the Papas, and this was one album that was supposed to come out as their second album, Crash On, Scream On, All Fall Down. And this is with Jill Gibson, who had replaced Michelle Phillips. She was kicked out of the band. And that didn't last very long, and she was reinstated, and they reshot the album cover. So this is kind of an interesting curio, I think. And I did feature this on my Mamas and Papas series. Let me just show you what else I got here. So I also did one. This is basically a best of the basement tapes, Bob Dylan and the band. So I did about a 12-track record here. This was a fun one to do. Someday I will get to my Dylan series. Okay, this is, I've got 2 here for Hermits. So Hermits, they could have had a couple albums in '68, '69 in that period, and they didn't release them. They had singles, and they just had a couple failed attempts at potential album concepts. They never did, but there's enough material for 2 separate albums. So I'll be going into depth on those when I do my Hermits video. Okay, now here's one that I had. I do plan on doing a video series on the Hollies. They had an album that they were working on in 1968. This was after the Butterfly album. So this is kind of transitioning, I guess you could say, out of the psychedelic period that they went into very heavily. And there was not a consensus on the direction they were going to go. Graham Nash wanted to go more progressive, while the other members wanted to go a little more pop. And when they had the hit single Jennifer Eccles, which was a top 10, that kind of sealed the fate of the progressive direction. So anyway, they had enough tracks to release an album, and unfortunately this never came out. So I will be going into this also when I do my Hollies video. Meanwhile, I've got some Beatles stuff here you may have already seen, but I'm just going to go through them again. I did a couple albums after Abbey Road. I did the Beatles 70. I did a version of the Butcher cover album, which I think Apple should still release. I did a gatefold here with the famous painting the Beatles did in the Japanese hotel. I forget the name of it, actually. But this was a fun one to do. I figured there's about half, there's enough songs to do half an album, half studio, and the other half would be live from the Japan shows. I thought that'd be a great idea. Maybe they'll take me up on it someday. Probably not. This is one of the box sets I was disappointed with was the Let It Be Get Back box set. There's so much more they could have done. They did it very quickly. They didn't seem to really care. They wanted something to go along with, I think, the Peter Jackson documentary, and there didn't seem to be a lot of thought put into what they did. So I came up with a whole nother double album of songs that they could have released. And then, of course, there's the whole rooftop thing. That's what everybody's asking for. It seems like if you ask them for it, that'll be sure that you will not get it. And then the Beatles' last album, just kind of a knockoff of the Beatles' second album. Pretty easy to do, kind of fun. This is what you call a pastiche, folks. Here is the Beatles' White Album reduced down to a single album. We call it Beatles 68. Cheesy liner notes on the back. And then this is one I did that was a lot of fun. The Beatles' Drug Songs, which is a takeoff on Love Songs. So we did the whole gatefold thing here. And I did just a mix of, they had so many, I could have done a third disc of their psychedelic material. I only did two, and it's a good mix of John, Paul, and George alternating here. So it's a really nice listen. And I do have this on one of my podcasts that I've done. So I'll put that link below so you can listen to that if you are interested. Meanwhile, if you want to check out, one thing I don't get, I always ask for requests what bands to do and things like that. I get plenty. And I haven't really taken requests for merchandise to come up with. Some people have said, hey, can you do this on a different color shirt? So I've had to make some adjustments there. And so yeah, if you do have questions or bands you'd like to see, I've got a couple different items. I've got not just mugs, I also have t-shirts, and I've got mouse pads, and I've got coasters. The one thing I can't do or haven't done yet on my website is stuff like this. Maybe in the future. These are kind of expensive to put together, so they'd be kind of cost prohibitive, which is why I like to at least get them to into people's hands via these raffles. So if you do decide to join my Patreon subscription, this is the kind of stuff you get. And I try to do this at least once a year, maybe twice. I think what I'll probably try to do is have some new merchandise ready come late fall, coming up on the holidays and stuff, because I haven't really offered many new things in the past year. Been kind of busy, but it's one of those things I never seem to get to. But it's time I offer a few more things because I can talk about it, and it's a great way to support this channel. So I really appreciate the support from all you viewers out there in YouTube land, as well as my Patreon supporters. I really appreciate it. It really helps me keep this channel going, and I've got plenty more to come here on Pop Goes the 60s.